Hello there, I'll just do a quick video here to show you how to put a door in. So first thing you'd want is actually the door itself. And so if you take a look at the content browser, there's a few options. I'm just going to search a door here, if I can get anything. I'll try again, all assets. Okay, type in door and make sure we're on static meshes. And you can see there's a few different doors here. I'm just going to quickly put in this guy here, which is sort of, you think it was the door frame, and I'll also bring in sort of the blast door, which is this one here. I'll rotate both of those 90 degrees, and then we'll just scale them up quickly. I won't do a perfect job here, just so that we get it in place roughly. Okay, so let me just scale this part up and then place it. So I'll probably uniform scale it up. Oops. Uniform scale it up. I think it's roughly, and like I said, I'm not going to worry too much here. Just place it properly. That looks pretty good there. You'd probably want to make sure it's just right in the middle. And then again with the door, I'll just scale it up. And then place that as well. So again, you can spend a little bit more time making it fit better, but that should give you a reasonable idea. Now the idea for actually, something like that. There we go. Okay. It's too small, but you'll get the point here. Now the big idea is that sort of like a shopping mall or whatever store door, there's going to be a sensor on the ground. So what I need to do is add a trigger. And if you go back into your actor classes and you look under the common, there is something called trigger. And there's a bunch of different triggers there. I just simply go with the regular top one there. And it will look like a little switch with a green sort of circle around it. Okay, what we want to do, again, is just place that and then scale it up. So I usually place it center in the door, and then I just scale it. And that green circle is basically the sensor. So I just kind of do something like that, where it's kind of, around the door, enough room that you have to come in close to it, and then the door should open. So what we'll do is sort of work with that trigger to get it to open, and we will also get this door to move. So just like we did for the mover, we have to make this a mover. So we have to go in and convert to mover. And then once you convert to mover, just like we did before, it's a good idea to set the collision type to block all. Now what we'll do is we'll head off to the Kismet. So once we open up the Kismet here, so I've got my old mover there. I'll just sort of push it aside. I'm right-clicking and then being able to move around. And then right-click in here, and we'll do a new mover, okay, just like we did before. So this, if you recall, we've got a little bit of an animation. We had this where the idea was that if you stood on it or whatever, the pawn was attached, it would play. We're going to get rid of this part. So I'm just going to click on it. You can see it turns yellow, and delete. And in its place, I'm going to click on the trigger, wherever the trigger went. It's sort of hidden right there. There it is. There, I think I've got the trigger. And if I right-click in here again, I can do a new event with trigger. And we're going to base that on touch. So it puts this in. If you click on it and hold the shift key, I think, no, control key, there we go, control key, you can move this around. So the idea, instead of with the pawn on it, we are going to say when the trigger is touched, we will play. And when it's untouched, or do we do empty? I think it was when it's empty, then I do reverse, okay? So the door will basically open and close when it's touched, and then when it's empty. I'll just go to the matinee, just like we did before. Scale it up a little bit. Move this over. Okay, so that way it just opens and closes reasonably well. So again, when we're keyframing, we do two things, well, sort of three things. We set the time, we set the position, and then we set the keyframe. So this is at time 0, it's closed, so we've set the position, so we just simply press enter. click on that track there. There we go. Okay, so then we get that triangle in there. And then move my black to set the time. So roughly 1 second again. Set the position. Again, I'm just doing this really quick. Okay, so it's got it up. And then set the keyframe. So those three steps. So time, position, and then keyframe. And we can see the yellow there. So we've got it working. There is one last very important step to do. On the trigger, if you click on that and you come down to sequence event, for some reason, it sets the max trigger count by default to 1. That means the door would open 1 time. We want it to open it more than 1 time. You know, you would think, well, maybe I have to put in 1,000 or something like that. You could, but there's a chance that you'd run out. The trick is setting it to 0. So if you set that max trigger count to 0, then it will run as many times. So there you can see it when I put my mouse over top of it, get that tooltip. How many times this event can be activated? 0 for infinite. So that's why we set it to 0 there. So if I hit play from here, there the door opened and the door closed. So as I come in, it opens up. I can go through into my dark room, and then the door closes once I leave that trigger. Okay, so pretty straightforward. I think you should be able to get that there. Good. Good luck with that.